Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Research Now's webinar, In-App Measurements, the Missing Link when Evaluating and Optimizing Your Campaign, presented by Vice President of Global Strategy and Research, Maria Domoslawska. We will welcome questions throughout the webinar through both the chat section and on Twitter using hashtag INAppMRX. That's INAPPMRX. We will respond to all questions in the post-webinar communications. We'll also be conducting a poll question for you to partake in. At this time, attendees, please be sure to mute your computers and phones to eliminate any possible feedback. And with that, I'll let Maria take it away.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and thank you everyone for joining us today for the in-app measurement webinar, the missing link that is no longer missing. As we announced on March 15th during the IRS Rethink conference, in-app ad measurement is now part of our suite of products for ad effectiveness evaluation, the Research Now ADimension solution. As I would bravely assume you are joining us today for this webinar because you feel challenged with the fast-paced changes that technology created in our lives, in how we do our jobs, with hope to learn and to better understand what is new and the latest in the world of media engagement and measurement. The media consumption patterns continue to change. Context and content have a new meaning and a different value as advertising and the technology behind evolves, making communications more in the moment and more relevant. Consumers are more open than ever before to viewing contextually relevant ads and videos, especially if given an option to exchange their time for content or access.
All right, everyone, we're going to do a poll right now. You should see a poll on your screen. We'd like to ask everybody which device they use the most in an average week. This will include your smartphone, tablet, PC, your personal, as well as those devices that you share with others in your household. Everything you do for work and personal. Go ahead and take a moment to respond now. Okay, I see you all responding. We're going to give it a couple more minutes here. Sorry, seconds here. And we're going to go ahead and close this poll. Thank you, everyone, for contributing. We'll share the results later in this presentation.
So as we review the latest stats on the media spend and usage and see what we see that new countries and cities were created on the new mobile platforms in the last couple of years. Facebook itself, over 125 million users, size of Japan, which is the 10th most populous country in the world. YouTube, almost 100 million. Google Search, Pandora, Twitter, Pinterest, and lastly, Snapchat that has now over 34 million users that are 18 plus, which is staggering because it was an app only used by teenagers a couple years ago. The mobile usage patterns show how and where consumers spend their time. Interestingly, even the mobile browser traffic is actually twice that of mobile app traffic, according to Morgan Stanley report released end of last year. The eMarketer graph on this slide shows that on average, consumers actually spend more time on mobile apps versus mobile web. There are other stats from ComScore stating that US mobile device users prefer apps over browsers. 52% of all time spent on digital media is now on mobile apps. And 42% of all mobile sales generated by leveraging 500 merchants came from mobile apps again. So why measuring in-app is absolutely necessary? Because if it's not measurable, we know that it's not scalable and sellable. Statistics help define trends and identify new ways for brands to communicate with consumers, but measurement helps refine the engagement tactics and make things more efficient. With 500 new apps and 100 new publishers entering the app stores on a daily basis, according to App Store Intelligence Company Priori data, this is not a passing fad. But we were faced with new reality as we couldn't ignore the booming popularity of the apps and all the stats that came with it. The industry was challenged with the new in-app environment and how things work within it. Unfortunately, cookies that were the proven method for over a decade for tracking digital ads turn out to not be as reliable in mobile and particularly in mobile apps. Cookies on mobile browser reset every time the browser is closed. And in-app cookies, yep, there are cookies in apps, but they are not shareable, which means they're useless for ad service and ad measurement. So no cookie monster for mobile. We had to track mobile differently. Instead of cookies, we had to leverage device IDs. IDDF for iPhone, only established in 2013, and Google Advertising ID for Android, 2014. All very new to the industry. All sounds quite straightforward enough, though. However, passing device IDs from different devices was just the first step. The step two, which was more important, was syncing the cookies and device IDs so we could measure people across different screens. For Research Now, the biggest differentiator was that we were not looking in a data set for device type. We look to connect people to different devices. Everything that we do at Research Now is based on our panel and the individual user's record. We link people to a device type. Therefore, benefiting from the scale of the Research Now panel and a single source infrastructure, our results are people-based, not device-based.
All right, we're going to go ahead and share the results now from our poll. As you can see here, we have 0% who said that on average they use 1 to 2 devices. We do have 58% who said on average they use about 4 devices per week, with 42% using 3 devices per week.
Which is quite interesting because we actually have on Research Now panel on average about 4 devices linked to a user. Not ideal, and it's changing, but we are actually kind of all following the same steps. So how does it work on our end at Research Now? Well, here's a list of all the different data sources that we use for collecting and storing panel profiles. We have the demographic profiles based on a survey and a self-reported data. We have passive cookie and device IDs now for advertising exposure, GPS, different mobile operating system. This is our uniform, systematic way to profiling our panelists. Most importantly, when you work with our sample, the single source sample eliminates the sample bias, particularly when comparing usage and impact of advertising across different devices and platforms. To target people, we measure impact on people. So to make it simple and to make sure that we have a scale to meet the industry requirements for media planning, we took time to build the cross-device panel. It actually took us almost over a year to, and this Venn diagram graph shows at the high level the overlap between the different Research Now panels with the minimum impressions required per device type. Once again, cross-device targeting is reaching the same person on different devices. Cross-device measurement is not about the capability of measuring different devices, but about measuring the same person across the different devices that person owns. That's what we do, and that's obviously in the middle, the sweet spot. So how our methodology works for now ad effectiveness studies. It starts with defining the target. The same rules apply as with any project. Specifications are related to the demographic profiles of your respondents, such as like age, gender, household income, and other. Then we have our cookie tracking methodology with tracking ads on PCs and in mobile browsers, something that everybody's been used to for at least last decade or so. Then we have our new methodology where we track exposure via the device ID protocol. This was our missing link that now is the part of the methodology that completes the measurement across the different devices. And then we go to our control group. The control group is actually also much more refined because we can have now select the same group of respondents based on the same quota specifications, but also we have ability to, in a single source panel infrastructures, to deselect respondents based on exposure to the larger media plan if such is part of our measurement. Further, if we're working with a different media plan and we have an ad network, we can always deselect the device IDs or actually keep some groups of respondents away from serving the ads, which reassures that the control group is absolutely perfectly matched. Asking surveys to both groups of respondents, control and expose, and analyzing the results as for a typical campaign effectiveness project is the simple protocol that we follow for all the studies. The one thing that is also important to mention with the real-time results, it is important to know that Research Now can provide the real-time results for any of our ADimension projects if you use our template for ad effectiveness survey. It is really important in today's fast-paced digital world to have the ability to check as soon as you can how things are working and catch everything that could be easily optimized. Luckily, given that Research Now has the control over the sample recruitment, this allows us to include in our real-time reporting features like real-time weighting to reassure that the control and exposed groups are perfectly matched. As well, as you can see on the right-hand side, 4 levels of stat testing to differentiate your story of statistically significant to a directional read. Lastly, we have filters on the right-hand side and tabs on the top, which include frequency, publisher, and a creative overview and detailed demographics that give you the confidence that you have hands on the campaign pulse and have the ability to optimize pretty much within collection of the sample and the campaign duration. So this is the overview of our methodology. There is the 5 steps that now it's the full picture of all the device tracking. And so what did we learn from the in-app test? We ran actually 5 projects, and the aim for the pilot was mostly to confirm the process and feasibility of the quota and targeting. Yes, as we looked at the results, we have some initial observations where we looked at the top-level brand metrics. So the first thing in-app observations was that we really noticed that the intimate in-app environment is very powerful as the ads and message breakthrough show significant lifts across most pilots. What was really very interesting for us to see that those results very often had double-digit statistically significant delta. But just like the mobile device creates the opportunity to engage with the consumer one-on-one, the brand lifts were isolated to only one part of the purchase funnel. Again, what was interesting here to see for us was that the purchase funnel was isolated, and in the campaigns that we had very positive breakthrough at the top part of the funnel, we actually noticed some statistically significant declines at the bottom of the purchase funnel. So when measured in isolation, in-app show great breakthrough for brand and ad awareness and for brand familiarity, but definitely we need to work on creating more best practice for in-app ads, as there are different things that came through from our observations where we tested the in-app measurement across different devices. So when we measure in-app as a part of a larger media plan where you had different media, different platforms, mobile web, mobile app, PC, TV, and print, it still was very clear to us that one size doesn't fit all. Media buy, creative message, and the screen size were the drivers. So it's really important to understand the impact of a device screen in isolation and as a part of all media combinations, because that's where the actionability of your insights will come. As we are still in early stages of including and assigning value to in-app, and this is mostly driven by the fact that some of the pilots had a much smaller impression volume for in-app tests versus other platforms, but each test for each vertical that we run in was slightly different and goes back to that individual engagement with the consumer and the individual engagement that you have to create for the in-app creatives, and almost test and develop your own best practice for the medium. So understanding impact at the individual respondent level is really the fundamental step, because it removes the sample bias and helps to focus on the media attribution. We ran several studies last year. We have, on average, about 35 different media and screen combinations on some of the studies that we ran. And if we can, we go into that mutually exclusive combinations to see the impact of the individual screens. But more importantly, right now, we do have to look at all the different media combinations and see how the impact of the overlap works. So if you are interested to request a free demo of the dashboard or get more information about the Research Now ADimension suite of products, here's the website where you can we can contact us. And I will pass this now back to Sarah.
Thanks, Maria. Please note for attendees that some browsers will require you to move the www portion of this link you're seeing in order for you to actually load the page. So if you're getting an error, please try that. Thank you, everyone, though, for joining us. That's all the time that we have for today. We will follow up after this webinar with answers to all of your questions. Remember to follow Research Now on social media, and please feel free to email webinars@researchnow.com with any questions you may have. Thank you all, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.